You are listening to the MSPoweruser podcast. This is episode 51, recorded Thursday, June 8th. Each week on this podcast, we discuss the latest news about Microsoft, including Surface, Windows Insider, Xbox, mixed reality, mobile, and of course, Windows. Today we're going to mostly discuss the huge new build that just dropped just a few hours ago. My name is Vernon E. L. Smith, and I'm joined as usual by Andy Bennett. What's up, bud?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm pretty tired. I shouldn't even say that. I'm always tired, but I've been pretty busy. But it's been a good week, and change is in the wind or something. So
yeah, that's usually a good thing. Depends on what the change is.
It does depend. How about you?
I've been going pretty good lately. I mean, nothing too special to mention at this point in time, although it's been a nice week so far.
That's good. Very good. Well, let's jump right into it. New Windows Insider build. This thing just dropped. I have not had a chance to play around with it. Andy has all the details on this. Start us off. What build number are we on here?
All right. For PCs, we are at 16215, and also for mobile, we are at 15222. Now, of course, PCs are on Redstone 3, mobile is on Feature 2, which is why we have this difference in build numbers going on right now. There are different branches, with Feature 2, oddly enough, not even having two features. But PC has been doing pretty good in regards to those, and if you look at today's build, you just see so many good changes. This is just a massive build that brings in lots more Fluent Design, among other things, including some features that showed up in the build that Microsoft accidentally pushed out last week, which found its way onto the internet, of course. And to start off with the changelog here, there is a new Action Center design. Now, this Action Center, I believe, is kind of going to change a bit more as time goes on, and not just because things change over time, this is initial design, but because it still has the quick actions within it, and that is most likely going to change very, very soon. It's no secret that Microsoft is working on a control center. I don't know if we'd mentioned it here on the podcast previously, but the control center idea they are coming up with is a little gear on the taskbar that once you click that, it'll open up a flyout that contains various options, like the quick actions, network, brightness, things like that. So all that stuff is going to end up in its own menu, and if you're too attached to having the quick actions in the Action Center, you might want to get ready for their move, not even a removal, just a jump over to another menu that's going to be literally just one item away. But this design is an interesting one. Things in it are much bigger, and of course the background now uses acrylic instead of the generic unnamed blur that was used since prior to the original release of Windows 10. On this design, we can see that app titles are centered, and they also have the no, never mind. I was trying to remember which icons are showed where, but these notifications also have this kind of card-based user interface you can see, it's interesting to see where they go with this. This is Fluent Design. This is a very different direction than what we're used to, and it should be interesting to see where things keep going.
Yeah, I do kind of like the design. It's not. I don't know if you can fit as much in there as you used to before, just from kind of looking at it. But it's more clear. It's much more clear what is what, basically.
For sure, it does look like it's going to be a much better design in the long run.
And the Action Center, I actually don't use that much on PC, but I obviously use it quite a bit on mobile. And for mobile, I don't really have any problems getting it mixed up one app from another. But on PC, I guess maybe I can see the concern there. I don't know.
On PC, it isn't really too confusing, although I will say that the card-based user interface does look pretty good here, and it is kind of nice because notifications on PC are just nothing. They don't have a background. They don't have anything separating them. So going kind of card-based, I approve of that. It'll help things look a bit more orderly. Additionally, there are some start menu changes as well. Much like the Action Center, it does have Fluent Design added to it, meaning that it is now, the material for it is now acrylic. And the acrylic material, if you don't already know somehow, is like if you open up Groove Music and you see the sidebar for it that's translucent and has that kind of frosted glass effect called noise, that is Fluent Design and acrylic material. Anyways, there are also some more changes to it than that. There's no more glitches at the bottom of the frame when you do a vertical resize of it. If you do a horizontal resize of it, the frame now starts resizing horizontally immediately, much like vertical resize, as opposed to only snapping to certain widths, which if, say, I'm on a Redstone 2 right now, I were to open up that start menu and, move it out horizontally, it would just jump to certain widths, which, interestingly, the original DirectUI start menu for Windows 10, it was the same way for vertical resize. It was snapped to like 3 different sizes as opposed to this freeform resize. So yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And additionally, it can be resized diagonally, which I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't been there already. You would think you really would think that it'd be something that would have been there from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now has a smoother transition into tablet mode. Now, there is a bug they're currently investigating where notifications in the Action Center lose their outline if acrylic falls back to having no transparency, and this will be fixed in a later flight, they say.
All right, well, speaking of tablet mode, we have new keyboard and emoji interactions or capabilities here. What's going on with that?
Right. Yeah, that's a big jump in the notes, but so let me scroll down here.
Oh, I'm sorry, you got it right.
Yeah, I was up at the very top of the notes because This is big. This is a big build. There's
absolutely.
There is oceans of content here.
No, go with your own flow there, Andy. No problem. That's fine.
All right. Yeah, and like next on Microsoft's list, where I'm going in the official Microsoft order of announcement here.
Got it. Let's do that.
And the next section is Microsoft Edge improvements, which the ones in this build are definitely good. You can now pin websites to the taskbar, which is back from Internet Explorer, finally. And it says, pin sites are back, we heard your feedback, and oh boy, I'm sorry, I forgot to mute my phone.
No problem. That's just as bad, or not even as bad as me mixing up the order of what we're going through here.
Well, though. But anyways, though, pin sites are back, and you can now go to pin sites to your taskbar, and they say, we will use this site's icon to give you quick access to your favorite sites right from the taskbar. Simply select pin this page to the taskbar from the settings menu in Microsoft Edge. So, for example, if you're on a website, you can, it seems as if, presumably, you would just click the 3 dots menu, open that up, and go down to wherever it is in there to open it up. And of course, that's not the only piece of fan feedback that remains in Microsoft Edge in this build. Additionally, full screen mode through F11 is finally here, which, boy, it has taken a while. Seems as if it has been ages. Although technically there has been an unofficial solution available, which is available for any universal application to go full screen in it, where you hold the Windows key down, hold the Shift key down, and press Enter. That does work in Edge as well, although you might have to click the, I guess you'd say the Chrome of it first. You click that and hold Windows key, hold Shift, hit Enter, and you can go full screen. However, now it is significantly easier and official, and really just what everyone's kind of come to expect from browsers. If you want to make the screen bigger, you go full screen with F11. Of course, there is also a new full screen icon in the settings menu to take your websites full screen. That's an interesting thing, although it's a little confusing looking to me. Where if you go into the settings menu again with the 3-dot drop down, you go to the zoom section. There's a minus sign, a plus sign. It's messed me up for a second because they covered the middle of the plus sign with a red box, and next to that, there is a diagonal arrow that is supposed to be the full screen button. It seems just a little weird to have it in there, and I do hope that, maybe it'll be changed to make that a bit more obvious, because I look at that, and I have no idea what it is, even as someone who, I read it right there, and it says, oh yeah, this is what the full screen button is supposed to be. I look at that, and it's like, that doesn't look like a full screen button at all. and it's right there in the zoom section, which is particularly weird, as the zoom section is about zooming the page itself, not the user interface of Microsoft Edge.
But you can zoom out. You can zoom in. I mean, it's both. And I
guess
I'm
the
kind of
zoom function doesn't touch. The zoom function is all about web page content, though. I mean, you can zoom in and out there, sure, but when you go full screen, that is a thing on Microsoft Edge's end, not the website's end.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking this from both the consumer standpoint, where I look at this and I'm like, what? And also a design standpoint, where I look at this and it's like, okay, it's an easy enough fix. You literally just give it an option, maybe put it at the top of the settings menu, put an icon next to it to show that it's not a regular setting, and just say go full screen.
I would say that icon is one of 2 commonly used full screen icons, and I'm okay with it. I recognize it, but I do see how it isn't the one full screen icon that we've been using for a long time.
Yeah, but regardless, it's whatever. I mean, most people are just going to be hitting F11 anyways, so it's not the biggest deal. It just seems bizarre to me. Oh well. You can also annotate books in Microsoft Edge, which is, of course, for EPUB books. You can highlight in 4 different colors, underline, and add comments. And to get started, you just need to select some text and choose an option from the menu. Which, that's nice, I suppose. It's pretty much in line with all their other features. You can also add notes to different pages and text, it seems. So that's also nice. And of course you can edit and delete notes. As for PDF improvements, they've added more highlight colors, added the option to ask Cortana in PDFs in Microsoft Edge. It's weird, I thought the ask Cortana function was already there, but whatever. Other Microsoft Edge improvements: Microsoft Edge's splash screen, seen when newly launched, so that the color transitions more smoothly to the Start New Tab pages. Which I mentioned that last week when talking about that build, where when you open up Microsoft Edge, it is gray, not blue. Which, okay, whatever. You'll now be able to close the Microsoft Edge app directly using the close button, even when a JavaScript dialog is showing. Okay. Added an option to add tabs to favorite from the right-click context menu on tabs. Using it will create a favorites folder with all the sites open and tabs in the current window. So similar to set tabs aside, just really different place where your tabs end up, and of course they end up there permanently, but that's a thing. New tabs will now animate more smoothly onto the tab bar when open and closed, and there's improved session restore behavior so that when a multi-window Microsoft Edge session is restored by clicking on a link, for example from an email, the window in focus at the end of restoration is the one containing the new link. Okay, that's cool. Alright, do you want to take the Cortana improvements?
Yeah, so they're kind of going what they call vision intelligence. So what we can do, like when you make a reminder for, hey, remind me to get tickets for something. This is the example they're using here. You can take a picture of something that is right in the message, like basically as a card. It's right in the reminder, and it helps you with that. Hey, remind me to pick up eggs. Oh, take a picture of eggs, or an empty egg carton, whatever. Well, so now they're rolling out 2 new features starting in the US that'll help never again miss an event you're interested in, is what they're saying. So Cortana Camera Roll Insights. It's not gonna create you to prompt you to create a reminder when Cortana notices event posters in your camera roll. So if you take a picture of, a poster, show, then it will, hey, should we keep track of this? Should we remind you to get tickets, or when it is, or whatever? So that's kind of cool. I guess I can't think of the last time I took a picture of an event, except maybe my daughter's play or something like that. And then the Cortana Lasso. Cortana can help track, well, the same thing, help keep track of future events. With the Lasso tool, you can circle the relevant information on the poster, and Cortana is going to recognize the time, offer follow-ups, suggested follow-ups, and help keep track of it, well, the same way.
That's an interesting idea, and it kind of reminds me of Google's. It's and not necessarily the feature itself, but like what it does in the end. Like Google has a what's on my screen feature for Android with the Google Assistant, and you bring it up, you say what's on my screen, and it'll show you the various names of people and give you links to news about them or their Wikipedia pages, whatever, or to just do a search on them. It's a cool idea, and I'm seeing this seems like a kind of similar thing where you select an item on your screen. Cortana will decipher what that is. You know, like in this example, you select a date that says August 4th on a movie poster. Excuse me. And it'll say, you know, do you want to set a reminder for, you know, that Friday on August 4th? You want to remember this? And it's like, okay, it's detecting what is there on your screen and giving you an option based off that. And I want to see that expanded because really Google Now's what's on my screen feature. That thing is real nice. And that would be cool to just like have the option to just like ask Cortana, instantly go bring up that lasso, you know, and select, say, I don't know, a celebrity. And you say, let's say, who, I don't know who plays Thor, but like select the new Thor movie or whatever. Select the actor's face or something. And, you know, get to go to their Wikipedia page right from that. Something like that. This is the kind of thing where I would love to see this go, because it definitely is an idea with potential, and I have more faith in Microsoft to do this well than Google, because basically any attempt to use the Google Assistant is really just torturing yourself.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it is quite literally just like OCR, just recognizing the image, you know, the words on there, or of course the image, or if it has something to do with the URL itself, and it's using that contextually. Seems to me that would make a little bit more sense, even though it might not be perfect. It could, I mean, the context could help quite a bit, I would imagine. So that is kind of curious to me. I wonder which way they're leaning with that. So, yeah. Handwriting continues to improve. So they're introducing a new XAML-based handwriting panel, more gestures, easier editing, emoji, and more. They say you can write as much as you want in the panel with a new conversion and overflow model. Whoops. So that's kind of cool. As you write, you'll see your previous words convert to typed text within Handwriting Panel. That makes sense. When you fill the Handwriting Panel, lift your pen off the screen, the text will shift over, and you can keep writing. Cool. I mean, nothing groundbreaking, but I like that's good. As one who likes the pen, that makes sense. And then, of course, you can select text that you'd like to change. That's good. I mean, Word has had that for a bit, I think, but now it's available pretty much everywhere, it looks like.
That's a pretty good feature for sure.
Yeah, and then even just by overwriting text, that works now too. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Microsoft really is putting a lot of effort into continued improvements for handwriting and pens and whatnot. In fact, you know, the Cortana Lasso feature is a pen feature as well, and it's like it fits the Surface line perfectly as well, and of course all the other 2-in-1s and whatnot that are popping up consistently. And I really do want to pick up a device capable of pulling some of this stuff off just to play with it, because this is what Microsoft considers one of the big things they need to focus on. And they definitely have a reason for that. Some of us might not even see it, or a lot of people might not even notice all the focus they've been putting into this, but they're doing it for a reason.
You should be able to find some 8-inch tablet somewhere with a stylus that is not too expensive. I mean, depending on what you're looking to spend, but something like that, it's still running full Windows 10, of course, but is focused more for the writing experience, and that's what that kind of makes more sense to me. This is something that you could use, I would imagine, used more in the classrooms and things like that, or the corporate world, where it's not your main PC, but you just bring it with you to a meeting, you just jot down notes, you just keep track of things that way, because obviously, but writing helps me remember things better. Many people are like that, but also you put inflection into it, or you can just leave it as notes, or you can convert it,
And it's interesting, to you mentioned the corporate workplace, like the Cortana Lasso feature, that'd be handy there, where, say you got a document that's like, it's got various schedules and whatnot on it, so you could just go and instantly go take Cortana, lasso that date or whatever, and go instantly set a reminder. And,
yeah,
I don't know, it's interesting.
Perfect. So other things are getting easier or better. Easier access to emojis and symbols. They've added 2 new buttons to the handwriting panel. That's going to let you get directly to your emojis quicker. It's important to people. And some people really is very important. It's interesting how emojis have helped us communicate better. Even if it's annoying, it helps add inflection to what we're saying in text, obviously. Palm rejection is getting better. Don't really need to add to that, I think. Floating by default. When you still have the option to choose, we've made a decision for the handwriting panel to now be, by default, appear next to where you're writing. That's kind of interesting. So just by changing mode, to change mode, you just tap the keyboard settings menu, top left corner of the keyboard. Handwriting recognition for English is improving. That's always improving. English mode for simplified Chinese, they've improved this as well. This is interesting. I don't really understand it well enough. Maybe you're basically
I can assure you I am not well enough versed in the various functions to help Chinese users with Windows to fully understand some of this.
So it just say that's getting better. They also
it's improving.
Also one instead of find my phone, it's find my pen. They say don't know where you put your pen. The pen doesn't have GPS, so we can't help you there. But what we can do is tell you where you were when you last inked on your computer. So I guess that's something that is kind of cool.
I'm interested in seeing, seeing how this page is find my device, and now it's got other devices you can pick up and find, like, again, the pens. I wonder what's going to come up next in there.
So let's see, a while ago we saw them demo the scrolling and selection with the pen, which is interesting. And personally, I haven't used it that way. To me, the pen is for creating or writing or something, and your hand is already right there. So I would just move the pen out of the way, scroll or select with the finger. That's my style, but they said that this is something that they really want. So scrolling and selecting with the pen is coming, and that's good. Hardware keyboard improvements. You want to add? Do you want to jump into this?
Yes. So Microsoft showed off a thing a while ago that was related to Chinese input, and it included a menu that would let you choose whatever emojis you wanted. And simply put, it was an emoji picker, much like what you see on keyboards on basically any mobile device, including Microsoft's own. Now, the thing that's changing here is that now you can bring that up regardless of your language and with a physical keyboard. You just have to press the Windows key and the period key, or the Windows key and semicolon key while the focus is in a text box, and the emoji panel will pop up for you to quickly scroll through and pick the emoji you want. It's really good. And you can just, quickly bring it up, go scroll through the various categories of emojis. It's in its own tiny little contained window, and quickly insert them. It does currently lack a search feature, which is something that does annoy me, because when I'm going to put an emoji in something, I don't use them too much. I want one specific one. And when I haven't used it, because, of course, there's a recent section, and I just generally stick to that. But if I haven't used it, if this is the first time I'm using it, I want to actually search to find that.
Now, not quite as good as search, but with the Windows Phone keyboard, which is coming to Windows 10, just by typing a word and then putting a space, typically will give you pop up the option of that emoji, the relevant emoji. It isn't.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
Okay, sorry. It's not as good as search.
No worries. I mean,
close.
It's better for you to mention it.
It's close. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like this. That means that I'm pretty sure they can bring search in, because they got all this stuff that's already needed. I mean, if you think about it, typing a word in Windows Phone and then hitting space, like you said, to get that thing for the emoji, that's basically a search anyways. It's just not in a search box.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah. And it says that in addition to using your mouse to select an emoji, you can also use various keys, like, arrow keys to navigate among emoji, the tab or shift plus tab to switch categories, enter to select, and escape to close. Now, it says right now this is currently only available in the United States English setting, when that's the active language of your keyboard. As a reminder, if you need to switch between the languages in your own language list, you can use the Windows key and the space bar together.
I love that there's short keys for the emoji window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and shortcuts are nice in anything, and I'm particularly glad that this window is here. I do wonder if it adapts to dark mode, because in this screenshot here, it is all light themed. But
yeah.
I wonder. I'm going to have to play around with that when I get this build set up. I don't have it right now.
And it doesn't really jive with the new keyboard, Windows 10. Well, not the new keyboard, but new to Windows 10, coming from mobile. That's always dark. So, anyway, they're pretty excited to be sharing that we're finally getting this, the Windows 10 mobile keyboard to Windows 10. Biggest thing we've all been waiting for it is the text prediction, improving upon that. That's kind of a big deal. It's going to continue to improve, and it's good. I don't know what else to say. But word flow, shape writing, predictive text. We talked about it before. I'm very happy with it. I mean, I'm glad it's coming.
Yeah, for sure. And this is available in a tablet form, it seems here, which is pretty good. The one that I saw is what they call the one-handed touch keyboard. And it says, following extensive research on tablet postures, we're adding a new keyboard layout to provide the most comfort when holding the device in your hands. And it looks similar to a phone keyboard. Hint, hint, hint. It's smaller and more narrow. It's the same
freaking thing.
And yeah, it looks identical to the Windows Phone keyboard, let's be honest here. You can freely put this smaller touch keyboard wherever you want, although we recommend docking it to the side of your screen, and you can use it with one hand. To switch between languages, press and hold on the and 1, 2, 3 key. Okay. This keyboard takes the place of the split keyboard layout. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
it does have shape. It does have shape writing when you switch over to this form as well. I don't think you have a shape writing as an option with the main big keyboard, but if you switch over to one-handed, you'll get it.
Yeah, the button to switch to symbols and the numbers does have a very small grayed out ellipses menu there. The 3-dot menu kind of hinting that there's more. People will learn that through time, I'm sure. But as far as snapping it to one side or the other, I mean, that's the same thing you could do with the Lumia 1520, obviously, and any other larger sized displays. Even if you adjusted the resolution on the size of the display, you could get that to pull out on smaller devices too. So anyway,
should be interesting. And then there is also a new touch keyboard settings menu, which you can let's see, it says along with all of our other improvements, we've updated the way to switch into Handwriting Panel and other keyboard layouts. You can find that in top left corner of the touch keyboard. And it says that it's important that we receive your feedback to help make these improvements and ensure that we ship a polished experience to Windows users. And of course, you can go and give feedback in the Feedback Hub. And they say, P.S. Don't forget you can move the keyboard around when it's undocked by dragging the move icon in the top right corner. And touch keyboards for Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages are not working with this build, but that will be fixed as soon as possible in an upcoming flight.
So one thing
I'll let you take this next section.
Well, to finish up on this, one thing I've noticed is that little like a D-pad, basically directional pad is what it looks like. You would grab that to move the keyboard around. That looks very, very similar to the pad on the keyboard for Windows 10 Mobile, which you use for literally moving the cursor. So they are different things. I don't know what else to say about that. Like I'm curious to see how they're going to change cursor position, because yeah, you can just tap on the display, but I would rather have a little bit more closer control of that. Same thing with like the tab. I guess I don't see a tab button on here. I really, depending on which one it is, like on the old Windows 10 touch keyboard, there was a tab option in there, and that's important. So I don't see it in this new keyboard. Maybe I'm just missing over it, but there's a control. Here we go. Controls in there. I just don't see tab. So that's something. Next up, we have dictation coming to the desktop, and obviously that's just by using the little microphone and saying a variety of things. Let's see, like press delete. Okay, end spelling to terminate the spelling mode. Let's see, I'm just skipping through here, picking one up. Go to the left to inject a left arrow into input. Okay, select next 3 words to select next 3 words. So this is good. There's a long list of stuff in here. Say comma, period, question mark. That is probably one of the most important ones. And then, of course, switching to spelling mode versus just saying words. That's kind of interesting. That's like switching between, like when you're in sign language, using between signs that are the word versus signs that are the letter itself, spelling it out. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I do like this. I think it's going to be really, really amazing for a few people, and most people will kind of forget about it. But it's there. It's
one of those little things that, yeah, it's one of those little things that most people won't use. But the thing is, the percentage that does use it, even if it's like 1 or 2%, that 1 or 2% is going to be a lot of people using it quite frequently. I mean, given the massive size of the Windows market share, I mean, 1 or 2% is just so many people.
Mm-hmm. So some things like move on to the next paragraph, go to the end, move on to the next sentence, and especially comma, period, question mark. Those things I will actually use myself.
Yeah, and then I'll take some of these next shell improvements.
Yeah.
Where they are enhancing your share experience. They say that they want sharing to be easy and natural, and with the last build they added people first sharing. And with this build, we're bringing another new share feature to your desktop. Copy link. This is something that I am so amazed took them so long to bring in here, but it's here finally. And it says that you don't see the app you're looking for in the Share UI. If you're sharing a link like a website in Microsoft Edge or an app from the store, we've added a new option in the Share UI to copy that link to your clipboard so you easily can paste it into your app of choice. I have been using a third-party app to do this for, boy, it's been maybe a year now.
There have been more than a few apps that already have this here, but it is not throughout. And sometimes in a few different spots you can do Control-C and Control-V, but that's pretty rare. So this being widespread, throughout is obviously pretty big deal.
Yeah, so I'm glad that it's here, and that this is something that's just way too long for them to bring this in, but better late than never, I guess.
It seems pretty core to Windows if you think about it. Something that you want to be able to copy that, well, anything, but I mean especially that link if you're trying to share it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now this next one is interesting. There's new local media folder detection for UWP apps. It says that photos, Groove Music, movies, and TV, they all have one thing in common: exploring your local content based on the folders you provide. We've heard your feedback that sometimes local media is missing as a result of folders not being included, so with this build we're adding new logic to address this. After a storage scan, we will now detect relevant media folders you might want to include in your collection, and when looking at the files through UWP apps and suggest them to you, or the UWP apps will suggest them to you when you go to add new folders. If you want to try it out now, add a new folder with 30 plus pictures, songs, or videos to your desktop. Go to Storage Settings and press the refresh button to trigger a scan. The next time you go to add a folder to your favorite UWP app, like Groove Music, you'll see this new experience, and it's got a picture, showing the various folders they got. And they say that if no new media is detected, you'll just see the standard file picker dialog. This kind of reminds me of libraries in a way, and I was just thinking about that the other day, about how it's just so sad that they are pretty much dead right now because they are still incredibly handy for getting media added to your device.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, and well, I don't really wonder, I doubt that they will ever, add this thing where it's like, oh, we've picked up these media folders, do you want to put them in the appropriate library? I don't think that'll ever happen, as again, libraries are just about dead now, but I really do think they should make a comeback for stuff like this, because they're still really good and really helpful.
Well, I actually use this to some extent. My wife and I, when we take pictures with our decent camera, we'll just pull those files over, put them on the computer, whichever one of us is logged in, our profile. We'll put them in a picture library, basically a file that's shared between and pinned on everyone's profile or anyone's file explorer, so that it's just right there and we don't have to jump back and forth between our own. Not that that's incredibly complex, obviously, but this would be an example of that. Of course, videos, especially those are in movies. That's a really, really good example as well. It's similar, yeah. So
there's also some My People improvements that fixes some issues, updates the logic so that if you have the My People flat open, you can now drop a file onto any of the contacts pinned in the overflow area to initiate a share with them. That's cool. They've updated the sound when you receive an emoji from one of the contacts pinned to the people bar. They have improved My People reliability and fixed an issue where hit testing would become offset after adding or removing items from the system tray. Okay. There's also some Nightlight improvements, including an issue where mirroring a display and then disconnecting from it would break Nightlight on that screen. Fix an issue where when Nightlight had been manually enabled and the device entered then exited S3 sleep, Night could then become disabled. And as a result of your feedback, we've updated our logic to now use a quick transition into Nightlight, if applicable, after rebooting or manually enabling Nightlight. Okay then. I'll let you take the next page.
yeah, so there's some new video playback things, mostly just for people that kind of geek out about this a little bit more. For example, using an HDR monitor, there'll be some additional battery settings to decide whether you prefer to optimize video streaming for battery usage or video quality. Probably, I don't know if it's actually a toggle. There's also, let's see, an error, unsupported video type or invalid file path. It's known issue, whatever. There's also new HDR and advanced color settings, new page for that. Settings, systems, display, and then HDR and advanced color. You'll learn more about that, of course. And then per app default settings page. Let me read this again. I thought we already had this here, but now start with your app and then see the available options for what it can handle. To see the option, you go to Settings, App, Default Apps, and then Set Defaults by App. Click on an app to click Manage. See all the file types and protocol associations for which the app is the default. I think that's referring specifically to video playback, as I understand. So that's fine. An updated network connection properties page. Whatever, updated. PP. New context menu for Wi-Fi network. View available networks flyout. I did not look at this one ahead of time. Just options include connect, disconnect, view properties, and forget network. Okay, it's probably not even worth mentioning. Bunch of other stuff in here. I'm gonna skip until we get to gaming. Game bar. What else do we have?
Yeah. All right, game bar. Now, based on your feedback, it says the game bar now has a button to enable or disable game mode for the current game, and its icon will be updated soon in a future flight. That's pretty good. I mean, previously you had to go into the settings menu in the game bar to enable game mode, and now they're making it readily available. And now the game bar also now allows you to take screenshots of games that run in HDR, and sharing those to Xbox Live using the Xbox app will come in a future update. And does note that broadcasting does not support HDR, however, and screenshots will be taken in the resolution of the game window, which enables the 4K screenshots that are now supported. Game clips and broadcasts will be transcoded to 1080p if the resolution is higher than that, however. And screenshots of the games running in HDR should now correctly save a copy in PNG that is tone mapped to SDR. Additionally, that the resources made available to games running in game mode have been tweaked on popular machine configs, including 6 and 8 core CPU machines, resulting in improved game performance for games running in game mode, which is pretty essential given the fact that game mode is often a performance hit to things. And it's definitely in need of work. Whatever they were doing to work with game mode definitely was not a major success. So the fact that they are working on this and not just giving it up on it and going and saying, whatever. The fact that they are still putting effort into it, that makes me happy. I'm glad they are.
All right, I will skip over some of this stuff. We have developer improvements. Go check it out for yourself. Ease of access improvements. Most of this doesn't apply to very, very few people, but there is one that caught my eye here. Color and high contrast. So high contrast mode, I use it, especially before we had dark mode. That was really, really cool to use both on the phone and on the PC. That really made it pop. Black and white and grays and stuff looked pretty cool. Well, now we have new color filters, basically they're calling them, that can be accessed. Examples are grayscale, invert, grayscale inverted. I did not know how to pronounce these words. Deuteranopia, protanopia, and tritanopia. So that's a thing. So when you get this build installed, be sure to try that out. But it gives you more options for high contrast, which is pretty stinking cool, actually. As long as you don't get, for example, like if you have any high quality images, like I think probably your previews of photos on your Photos app aren't going to show up. Same thing with like Groove Music. While that's playing, you probably won't see the artist, what do you call it? The artist background, or like what do you call it? Album info or whatever. Album image. Anyway, got some font improvements. Looks like this is Japanese versions of Japanese. And
yeah, this is called the UD Digital I'm going to say this full name here. UD Digital Kayokashitai to our Windows font family in Japan. And this is an interesting looking font, as here in the United States we're used to most of our fonts. We've got Times New Roman is all but dead.
Yeah.
And most of our fonts, they are straight, modern, clean looking. Like, for example, Sego UI.
Yes.
But this tries to maintain the feeling of handwriting, as opposed to being completely strict, clean, sharp digital. And I appreciate that. It says that our research shows that this font increases readability of textbook content. So that's interesting.
Okay.
There's also some various Japanese input method editor stuff that doesn't apply to anyone listening to this podcast, most likely, so you'll just go check the notes for yourselves. Same thing goes for Chinese improvements and whatnot. There's also various changes, improvements, and fixes for PCs, such as bug fixes for updating, fixing issues that made it impossible for you to type in your password to log into various UWP apps like Netflix, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Messenger. Fixed issues with Outlook 2016 hanging on launch. Just various stuff like that. There's a whole load of this stuff. There are some known issues, such as that PCs with enterprise configurations may not be, but most likely will not be able to open PDFs in Microsoft Edge on this build. So you'd have to download PDFs and open them with a third-party reader. Or alternatively, the Reader app from the Windows Store that was made for Windows 8. There's just a couple of things in here, like, Windows Mixed Reality developers will need to install some new stuff. UWP apps such as Twitter will crash on launch. So yeah, you're going to want to check out this list. There's a lot of information in here, although most of it's too small to mention.
Yeah, I want to cover the changes, improvements, and fixes for mobile.
What improvements?
The copyright date is correctly showing 2017 now under Settings, System, and About. Whoa! Congrats.
Haven't they changed the copyright date in every single Windows 10 mobile build since 2017 began? I've seen that note in like every single release.
Now there is actually one on here which is substantial, sort of, for the 7 people still running a Windows 10 mobile device. We fixed an issue where notifications and Cortana's cross-devices settings on your device were not being mirrored to your PC. Well, that is kind of something. Not a huge deal, but that is that. I guess it's worth noting. So, all right, man, that was a big build. So, what we're going to do, since it's such a big build, the site continues to talk about this. It's only been on a few hours, but we're taking individual pieces of this and digging into it. I know Andy's got a project he's working on where we're going to kind of share a little bit more about what's going on with this build. And go back to the site, check it out. If you're an insider, now is if you can justify putting this on a second machine, now is certainly the time to do it, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here to play around with. And of course, give good feedback. Share what you like or what you don't like about this.
Yeah, for sure. And now, while Windows 10 Mobile might not be getting a lot of love in public builds right now, and internal ones, it's getting some significant changes. Now, Vernon, I don't know if you saw the post on, actually the video rather, that showed off Seashell on Windows phones.
I did. I had goosebumps. As a Windows Phone fan, that was fan-stinking-tastic, or whatever I'm not allowed to say. Yeah, that was very, very cool. So the major premise of this, I mean, it's Seashell, okay, composable shell, which is what Windows 10 will be running on going forward. Okay, it's almost an accident. Apparently, it was an accident that it was available to be run on a Windows 10 mobile device. In this case, it was the Elite X3, but I think it could be pretty much anything with a Snap 800 series and at least 2 gig of RAM. I don't know what it was. So the biggest thing, which is still something very little, but the tiles, okay, on Windows 10 Mobile and Windows Phone from the beginning, you do a long press on the tile, you have the option to change the size of it, starting Windows Phone 7.5, I think, and do different things. You can, whatever, there's a lot you can do with it currently right now. You can unpin it, and you can change the size. With Windows 10 on the desktop and a tablet, you can do many more things with it, obviously, and so all those things have come to phone, to Seashell on the phone. That's a big deal. You can do more sizes and everything, but there's just plenty of options anyway. Also, landscape mode works, kind of. It works in most cases. It still has, well, when you use Windows 10 on a tablet and you shift it, shift your the orientation, it resizes, or I should say reconfigures. It reconfigures the position or the orientation of the tiles. With this on mobile, it does not reconfigure them. It just kind of flips them for you, which isn't bad. It's okay, but there's a gap along the sides, and that's fine. I mean, no complaints. You also, when you're opening other apps, it goes right to landscape mode. That's fantastic. I love the direction they're going with this. This is really, hey, maybe this is complete accident. Maybe this is not supposed to be for mobile, but it's there. It's available. It is possible, and it's getting a lot of people that were kind of feeling bad about this. Go ahead. It's what?
I can assure you that this is stuff that is definitely meant for mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not an accident or a coincidence. This is something that is going to show up with whatever we end up seeing next.
It's back to exciting times. Okay, we had a lull. Everyone was down in the dumps, and we're starting to see the ramp up. Maybe I'm being too optimistic here, but I'm excited to see what this is what it's doing. Last thing about this, all of this, you know, the Elite X3 and pretty much any phone since the 950 obviously was Continuum enabled. So either doing that wirelessly with the Elite, which dock is it? I forget the name of the Elite dock. I forgot. Lap dock, or even just wired. It's basically like a PC. I mean, like, it's what we think of as a PC. And the video showed multiple apps being opened and continue to be able to be handled. Of course, it's kind of dependent on RAM, but they seem to make very good use of it. And I mean, there's plenty of laptops right now which are very reasonable at 4 gig of RAM And there are many, many phones that have at least 4 gig, if not more, of RAM right now. And if it's used properly, this is starting to truly show the potential for Continuum. It's too bad that it's taken almost 2 years. Well, yeah, basically 2 years to really get there. And this is a fast ring insider build, but it's very positive to see the direction we're going with this. Anything to add to this, Andy?
Not really, although I am interested in seeing where this stuff goes in the future.
Yeah. Cool. So Fluent, and we continue to like to make fun of that, Project Neon, which is officially called Fluent Design, is coming to the web. So and we heard just a little bit about this when they announced it at Build. Okay, of course it was the depth, motion, scale, material, and light web framework. It's using 4 of these components, but the scale component is arriving later apparently. And there's a couple of interactive demos that web developers and designers can play around with. Includes a demo for the depth component, one for the reveal effect from the light component. Is this something that appeals to you? I know you don't actually design web stuff, but what did you think of this?
I checked out Microsoft's official demos of it, and it is really promising right now. And I'm interested in seeing where this stuff goes. I said that again already, but you get the idea. This is something that's promising, however, it is really, really early. The stuff that they showed off, they have concept videos, they have the real thing. The real thing is mostly complete, although it's missing some of the stuff that's a bit more fluenty. But they do have some parallax scrolling on the web, which does look incredible, and they do intend to put to good use. So it's gonna be good. They
Nice.
just need to get more of it done.
One of my favorite things that Microsoft does is the Bing rewards, which have been rolled over recently to Microsoft rewards. And I use them. I think it's fantastic. For the most part, it's been available only in the US. Just last week, it did finally get rolled out to the UK. And then we are now in the process of Microsoft rewards getting rolled out to Bing users, basically. But also Edge users. You can earn reports points by using Edge. But people using that in France, and of course, we are getting those Microsoft rewards are coming to people in Germany and Canada pretty soon. I don't know how soon that's going to be. So that's a good thing. That's positive, and roll on, I guess. I don't know. Okay, well, Facebook went from one of my favorite things to one of my least favorite things. Facebook is the Facebook beta app for Windows 10 does finally let you like comments with reactions. So is this different? Okay, this is different than liking posts, I suppose, with reactions.
Yeah,
okay.
This is something that they added to the web lately that you can hover over like on a comment and react
So-
to it. And it's pretty dumb. It is really, really stupid. But
It
here,
allows-
and we get feature parity.
But if you want to express a feeling regarding something, you can do it without actually typing a single letter. Just holding down your finger on that display and waiting till something pops up and selecting the right smiley circle, or I should say yellow circle, with the proper facial gesture, if you'd like. Whatever. Feature parity, yay. Let's move on to gaming. Andy, what do you got for us?
Oh, yeah. So, Microsoft has possibly hid the Project Scorpio release date on a teaser video. Now, one of the teaser videos that Microsoft has released prior to E3, which, keeping in mind, Microsoft's E3 press conference is Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and that a few frames show a crowd cheering, and on the side of the stage there is text that reads X10S101-317. Now, that doesn't make any sense at first glance, but it could possibly be the release date for Project Scorpio. The X10S on the string possibly refers to the console itself, but 101-317 could be indicating the release date of Scorpio, October 13th, 2017, which, interestingly enough, this is in line with some of the stuff we've been suspecting, as October is the earliest that Scorpio games can be certified and released, and, also interesting, Shadow of War was announced to be delayed up until October 10th. That's pretty close, and considering the fact that it is announced already that it will be supporting Project Scorpio, it's interesting. And it's like, it's not the same date, which means that I am a little weirded out by it, but if memory serves, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare launched a couple of days before the PlayStation 4 Pro and contained improvements for it, like right away, so it might be a similar situation. I'm just still used to the old console format where when a new console comes out, we have a actual launch day for it with actual launch titles, as opposed to comes out a day before, but whatever. There's another teaser video that includes the hidden message, 6 is greater than 4, which is probably comparing the power of the PlayStation 4 Pro with Project Scorpio. PlayStation 4 Pro packs a little over 4 teraflops of computing power, where Scorpio includes over 6. And additionally, it does seem to be possible to hide Xbox One dashboard tabs. Excuse me. For example, the community section or one guide. However, this is not persistent across reboots, and I am pretty sure it is intended as a development feature for when, they're demoing Xbox stuff, and they've got new sections they don't want normal people to see, so they'll go and turn it off, and you can do that on your own, I guess. And it's not persistent across restarts. Feels like it's an option that's just used by Microsoft to hide new tabs when doing previews, but to get to this, you go to the home screen on your Xbox One, click in the left stick, and press Y. That'll open up a menu that'll let you enable or disable various tabs. Excuse me again. Yikes. Coughing tonight. And then, finally, Microsoft has trademarked direct reality for gaming. And while they have said that virtual reality won't be a part of the E3 2017 press conference, they filed a trademark for a service called Direct Reality, which is related to gaming. According to the trademark filing, it covers computer game software for holographic applications, which makes me wonder if this has any relation to DirectX, simply because the Xbox was originally the Direct Xbox, and the name kind of stuck and got shortened, which makes me wonder, is direct reality something that's related to, say, development stuff for developers to use DirectX when working on virtual reality titles? I mean, it could be anything. Any number of things, really, but it leaves you wondering.
Well, you do not need to wonder about all the latest news, because you can go to MSPoweruser.com and keep up on your favorite company, or maybe your least favorite one, whatever it is. Microsoft is, we cover Microsoft, so go there. You can follow us on Twitter at MSPoweruser. You can follow me individually on Twitter, us individually on Twitter. I'm at Vernon EL. Andy's on Twitter at FusionFan45. And be sure to subscribe to the show. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Blast it through your over-the-shoulder boombox as you go up and down your street, and let people know about it. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care.